Today, we will explore the religion of Islam. Islam has its deep connection with Christianity and Judaism. So let's find out more about this religion and its prophet Muhammad. The religion of Islam started in Saudi Arabia, a peninsula of West Asia. Arabia is a desert and unsuitable for agriculture. Many Arabs in that time were nomadic, meaning they moved from one place to another, looking for fertile lands and oases to settle down. Two such places in Saudi Arabia, which were oases or like oases, were Mecca and Medina. So let's go back to before Islam came to Arabia, and let's look at the life of the Arabs before Islam. The Arabs worshipped many objects of nature. They had many idols of gods and goddesses, which were kept in the Kaaba. The Kaaba is a cube-like structure, which was first built by Abraham, who is also the prophet of the Jews, Christians, and the Muslims. So the Arabs would worship the idols inside the Kaaba. It also helped them to generate income through the money the devotees spent on the idols during pilgrimage. The Quraysh were the ruling tribe before Islam, and so they had the custody to the Kaaba. The Arabs were very revengeful and lawless. The only law they knew was lawlessness. There was no police, courts, or judges. Only a man's tribe could protect him. There was no government, and so there were constant wars between tribes. Slavery was common. It was a male-dominated society, and women had no status. Girls were buried alive. Drunkenness and gambling were common. The Arabs before Islam lived a wild, uncivilized life. In 570 CE, Muhammad bin Abdullah was born in Mecca. He lost his father Abdullah before he was born, and his mother Amina died when Muhammad was just a child. After his mother's death, Muhammad was brought up by his grandfather and later by his uncle Abu Talib. When Muhammad was young, he worked as a shepherd, and when he was a teenager, he traveled with his uncle who was a merchant. Muhammad was known throughout Mecca for his honesty and was called Amin, meaning the trustworthy one. So when he was an adult and was employed by a rich widow named Khadija to run her business, she was so impressed by his honesty that she married him. They had 2 sons and 4 daughters together. Muhammad always questioned the religious practices and lifestyle of his people. He would meditate for long hours and sometimes for days. His favorite place for meditation was the cave on Mount Hira, where he would go to think about the social evils of his people and how he could change them. After Prophet Muhammad, or Paigambar Muhammad, achieved enlightenment, he was called the Messenger of God, Prophet in English, or Paigambar in Urdu language. He faced a lot of opposition, but nothing could stop him from giving up the message of the oneness of God. His principles of one God, equality of man, respect for all creatures of God, of social upliftment, became popular, and he started having many followers. He received revelations in a deep meditative state, and the collection of the message, which later was compiled, is called the Quran, the holy book of the Muslims. Muhammad was opposed by the Meccans because what he spoke about was revolutionary. The leaders of the Quraysh tribe hated him for his views because he was transforming the lawless Arabs, making the leaders worry that they could lose power. So they planned and plotted to kill him. Muhammad always maintained the principle of non-violence throughout the opposition period. His followers were tortured and killed, and Muhammad himself was humiliated. So he, with much reluctance, had to leave Mecca and travel to Medina. This incident of departure from Mecca to Medina by Prophet Muhammad is called Hijrah. Hijrah in Arabic means departure, and Muslims call it the Hijri era, the start of Islamic lunar calendar set in from this day. The Meccans opposed the Prophet Muhammad, but the people of Medina received him and his followers with open arms. Muhammad's popularity was spreading, which the Quraysh could not tolerate. They started harming the Muslims in Medina, and this led to war between Mecca and Medina, which the people of Medina won. Muhammad returned to Mecca victorious, forgave all those who opposed him, removed the idols out of the Kaaba, and brought laws to civilize the Arabs. His message then spread all over the Arabian Peninsula. Let's look at the teachings of Islam. Islam means surrender to one God, and Muslim is one who surrenders to God or Allah and His will. So the teaching of Islam comprises: number 1, that God is one. Number 2, that one should lead an honest and principled life and keep away from evil. Number 3, respect women and compassion for the poor and weak. Prophet Muhammad stopped the age-old tradition, which was very popular amongst the Arabs, of killing girls. He gave women high status. Women were given rights to choose their life partners, and they could also remarry. They were given right to inheritance and property. Muhammad taught that just praying was not enough, and according to his teachings, a true Muslim is one who looks after the poor and the needy. Let's look at the rituals of Islam, or the 5 pillars of Islam. Number 1, the kalima, or the declaration that there is no God but one God, and Muhammad is just his messenger. Number 2, namaz, which is the 5 times daily prayer. Number 3, roza, or fasting the month of Ramadan from early morning up until sunset for 1 month. Number 4, zakah, a percentage to be given out of one's wealth to the poor and the needy. Number 5, hajj, pilgrimage to Mecca to be done once in a lifetime. Let's look at the spread of Islam. After Paygambur or Prophet Muhammad died, the caliphs took over the responsibility of promoting Islam. The caliphs were known as successors of Muhammad. With the sincere efforts of the 5 caliphs and the message of Islam, which spread equality, oneness, and justice, Islam was soon spreading from Spain to India within a century. What were the factors that helped Islam to grow so fast? Number 1, simplicity. The message was direct and clear with no complicated rituals or traditions. Number 2, the efforts and sincerity of the caliphs helped it spread. The 4 caliphs, who were the first 4 leaders of Islam who succeeded Prophet Muhammad, were his closest friends and advisors during the early years of Islam. They are sometimes called the rightly guided caliphs because each of them learned about Islam directly from Prophet Muhammad. They were devout Muslims and were eager to spread the message of Islam. So the caliphs, being devoted Muslims, helped in the spread of Islam. Number 3, the religious interest of the sultans. The sultans, after the caliphs, assumed a very high position, and they had to be devout Muslims. They were literally given the authority of a caliph, and they took a lot of interest in the spread of Islam. They established schools inside the empire which taught Arabic language and Islamic studies. Number 4, trade. Trade was a very important factor in the spread of Islam. The Muslims had excellent sailing skills, and whenever their commercial ships halted at various ports to be supplied with water and food or be repaired, they interacted with the locals, which resulted in further expansion of Islam. It is also believed that some of these merchants settled in Indonesia and blended with the local people, which made them inquire more about the religion of Islam, and so people converted to Islam. Number 5, agreeable political and geographic considerations. Geographic considerations helped in the spread of Islam. Mecca was centrally located between Europe, Asia, and Africa, and this allowed the Arab world to have great control in the spread of Islam. Let's look at the contributions of Islam. The Arabs discovered several medicines and wrote books on smallpox and measles. Ibn Sina, for example, made advances in pharmacology, and his textbooks on medicine were highly respected in Europe. Inventions in science and mathematics. Hand soap, tin glazing, glass manufacturing, sulfur mercury theory, paper mill, windmill, algebra, algorithm, and so much more were contributions made by Arabs. Geography and astronomy. The spread of knowledge in the field of geography and astronomy was shared by the Arabs to other parts of the world. In geography, they gave very detailed description of areas from Turkey to Spain. Everything like inhabited areas, agricultural lands, and deserts were mentioned. Also, social system, culture, and customs of the areas were explained. They described many areas which even the Greeks did not. For example, Japan, Korea, Spain, Turkey. In the field of astronomy, the Muslims were the first to build observatories. They determined the size and circumference of the earth. Al-Batani was the one who first discovered that solar year was 365 days, 5 hours, 46 minutes, and 24 seconds. Al-Masudi invented the telescope. Art and architecture. Islam had great influence in the field of art and architecture, which can be seen in buildings built in Roman, Byzantine, and Persian empires. Sects in Islam. Like many religions, Islam too was broken into sects. The most important are Shia and Sunni. Though they both agree on practices and beliefs, the bitter split between the two goes back 1,400 years ago. The divide happened over the dispute of who should succeed Paygambur or Prophet Muhammad as the leader. Those who thought the Prophet's cousin Ali should have been the leader were in group called followers of Ali, or in Arabic, Shiat Ali, or in short, Shia. Prophet Muhammad died without a male heir. All his sons had died in infancy or when they were babies. The majority favored Abu Bakr, who was the Prophet's best friend and became the first caliph after the death of Prophet Muhammad. Ali became the fourth caliph. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all share common beliefs and have common prophets like Jesus, Moses, Abraham. They believe in the oneness of God and are sister religions. Christianity and Islam both played a key role in framing medieval India and played a great role in the political transition of India, and it helped in the formation of a new India. In Chapter 2, we explore how Islam spread to India and how medieval India was formed. Chapter 2, Medieval India and Political Transition. It's going to be an interesting chapter to explore. We're going to look at how the Rajput dynasty was formed, how it fell, and how the Turkish Empire slowly gained footage in India. It's getting really, really interesting now, and India has entered the Middle Ages. What happens to India in the Middle Ages? How does India transform? It's going to be so interesting to find out. So hold on till I come in with chapter 2, which is going to be so exciting. Till then, keep your minds open and let's learn and discover together. Take care, have loads and loads of fun. Bye.